Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 18 of the Project Tech Gaming Podcast, where we talk about games, tech, and everything in between. I'm your host for this week, Kelvin Malone, and to my immediate right is co-host Robert Garcia. What's up, man?
Hey, guys. What's going on?
Rob, let's kind of skip the small talk, shall we?
Yeah, let's do that.
Let's jump right into it. Also, we're having internet issues, so, it's kind of wonky right now. But let's start with topic number one. PlayStation versus Xbox, their first 7 months into next gen. Our topic number two, Sony having 25 games currently in development right now. Ubisoft changing from AAA release strategies to free to play. Topic number four, 2 new colors for the DualSense hitting next month. And topic number 5, I left as a question mark because it's an interesting topic and I want to talk about it a little bit later. I kind of want everyone to kind of be in a little bit in the dark for that one. So let's start with that. Before we get started with the topics, though, let's talk about Game of the Week. Game of the Week, if you guys don't know, is a recurring segment in this podcast where we talk about a game and we just give our impressions of it. We talk about it and we just share what we liked, what we didn't like. Rob, this is your week for Game of the Week, and you played a little game called Resident Evil Village.
Yes.
Now, I played it, you played it. No spoilers for this, right? We're just going to kind of talk about it, but we're not going to go into too much detail. So tell us about it.
Yeah, so for the Game of the Week, I did play Resident Evil, but it was more towards the beginning. So a lot of it is like what you saw in the demo. So there's not a ton of spoilers there if you do watch the video because it's in the beginning. So just like caution, just like there's not really that many spoilers in the Game of the Week video. So yeah, this is the newest game by Capcom for Resident Evil series. And I'm going to go ahead and say like this is probably my favorite in the series so far.
Really?
Right
Your
now.
favorite?
Yeah.
There's a lot of favorites. So you have 4. You have Resident Evil 2 remake. Like those are really popular games, and you're saying this one right now, 8, is your favorite.
So far, I mean, I like that they mixed the first person into it, and it's a mix between 7 and 4 put together, and I really loved 4. Right, the first person adds that element of it being scary. Right, you're more immersed in it versus third person where like it's still scary but not as scary, because it's not in your face.
Yeah.
So far, I right before we got on the podcast, I was playing it. I'm very close to beating the game actually, very very close.
Like right now, like you're almost there.
Yeah.
Interesting. So tell us more. Like, what do you like about this game? What made you What made you bump this game up to like your number 1 Resident Evil series?
Again, like it's just the pacing of it. It's like right off the jump, they throw you in there, just like, all right, this is happening. There's not really a boring part of the game. I'm never bored playing it.
Good. Okay.
So there's lots of stuff happening. There's action, there's scares, there's puzzles, right? So I think they did a really good job with mixing all of those things together. Plus the story, like you want to know what's going on, like you actually care about the story. I think that
was interesting. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, the one thing I could knock on this game is probably the main character, Ethan. He's not he's not the strongest character there is. For sure.
I had a little bit of an issue with Ethan myself. I played the game. I would, so not no spoilers of course, but I'm basically past the castle. That's all I'll say. Right?
Yep.
So basically I really enjoy this game. It's really fun. I think it grabs you from the beginning till where I'm at right now, and you're saying, you're close to the game and still grabbing you. So it keeps that momentum going, which is great. And like you said, there's never a dull moment in that game that makes you kind of like, steer away from it.
Yep.
But Ethan is probably the weakest part of this game. I would say that.
Yeah, I would say
because
too. I mean,
all the other characters are so strong, right? They have such a great, cast behind them, whereas Ethan just kind of feels flat and boring and dull, right?
Exactly, and like again, that's the one thing that sucks about the first person view thing, right? Like you can't really you don't see his face, you don't see anything like that as of right now, So, and I know he was the main protagonist in 7 as well.
Yeah, for sure. So
So
This is a continuation of 7, right? So whatever happened in 7, no spoilers if you haven't played that game. It does a pretty good job in the beginning of the
of
game,
explaining it. Yep.
kind of explaining what happened. So like I never played the game, and I watched that, and I was like, all right, I'm caught up. Like I know exactly what happened. And it kind of steers from that, and it continues on right from the beginning of Resident Evil 8. It kind of gives you, what the hell is going on with them.
Um,
So
yeah. What's up?
I was just gonna say, like you said, the pacing of this game is great. Like you from the beginning of the game, you're like, what the hell is going on, and you're still kind of clueless, but you're still getting glimpse of like, okay, this makes sense. Like, 4 hours into the game, you're like, oh, okay, now I see why this is happening. Like, there's a lot of things that they the little breadcrumbs that they give you as you're
Hmm.
playing to kind of reward you for getting that far. It gives you a little bit more insight onto the story, which I like.
Yeah, it
Um,
is a pretty short game too, from what I'm hearing.
yeah, yeah.
You
Which
know,
I'm okay with.
I'm perfectly fine with that. Like a lot of people
Yeah.
have a problem like spending the $60 or $70 for it. But if I had fun and it's like memorable,
Yeah,
that doesn't really bother me.
for sure, for sure.
Um,
The game makes, I don't know. It does a good job with what it does. Like the character models. The game is gorgeous. I don't think we've talked about that really, but the
It's a
game
very
is
good looking game.
beautiful, and the character models just look fantastic. So everything about the game is gorgeous. So it helps with the kind of immersion of the game as well.
Yeah, I'm playing it on PC. What I've been hearing is that the port for PC isn't as good as the port for consoles, but that's typical. I've had a couple of like issues of like frame rate and stuff like that here and there.
For sure.
As you can see, like the game of the week, I had a little bit of issues with the frame rate, but other than that, like plays great on PC as well. And the only thing, so if there's 3 things I can say about the game
Sure.
that I can knock it for without giving it like a perfect like 10,
Right.
is Ethan, how short it is, depending. Obviously, we just said like it doesn't really bother us, but you don't want a game being so short,
But what if it does what it needs to do in that short amount of time? If it's a complete package, you're okay with it?
Then we can like maybe knock that one out. So if short's not your thing, or it's just getting your money's worth out of it.
Yeah, for sure. Because there's been other, like Resident Evil 2 remake is a much longer game, and people feel like they're getting their money's worth for that one. Whereas this one, or even 3, right? I think Resident Evil 3 that came out after 2, right? That one felt really short too, and some players were kind of like, I don't know if I really enjoyed that because it was so, it was so short.
Yeah, and then the third and last thing is that it loses, without me spoiling, it loses its scariness.
Oh,
towards the
end. Okay,
it starts.
That's a little disappointing.
It peaks. It's building, and then it peaks, and then it never brings back to that moment again. There's still
is it
like
because
what?
Is it just because you have an arsenal of weapons now, or like how we talked about previously, or there's no scare factors, there's no like those jump scares anymore?
There's still like some jump scares here and there, but again, you have that arsenal on you that it's like, and don't get me wrong, there were moments in the game where I'm like, oh shit, you know what I mean? Like it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
But the fact that you have such a strong arsenal, and the environment is a little different at that point. It's not. It doesn't keep the momentum of being scared. So that's literally the only thing I can knock it for. Those things, but other than that, the game's great. I love that game.
My issues with the game, differ a little from you. I think Ethan obviously is one of the main issues of the game, and again, it's not like it's bad, but it's not like.
Not awful.
Like,
it's not like
it's
I
not
remember
like
Star Ocean or something where like the character model didn't even like move their mouths, like it was the voice acting. Yeah, it's not like that.
He just seems very dull, but that's not even like the main thing for me. Well, it is, but my other issue with this game, my complaint, if I had to really nitpick this game, I think it's too easy when you play on normal. I played on normal. I don't know if you did.
Yeah, it is an easy game. It is an easy game.
So I feel like you have a lot of ammo starting off. Again, I'm 4 hours in, maybe a little bit longer. I just beat the first boss, if that's where you want to kind of, point me at. So like the first major boss. And I just felt like I had a ton of ammo, and I wasn't really afraid to waste it because I knew there was going to be some, soon, or if not, like around the corner. That was my main issue. And then it being easy, but also the health in this game is a little strange. I feel like I don't think I ever, maybe once or twice, where I got to the point where I was like on desperate need of life, like I was almost dead.
Because you can craft it right then and there.
Because you can just craft things, and I think that kind of makes the game much easier in that sense. But now I've heard people say, oh, if you play on hard, it reduces the amount of ammo and stuff like that, so it does give you that like sense of
Dread that
desperate
you're gonna,
desperate need of ammo and stuff like that. So that if you want to try it out on hard, that might be an option. But for me, going in it normal, I think it just kind of was a little too easy for me, which I thought was a little disappointing. But again, that's me nitpicking it. It wasn't anything major, but I was like, all right, like this was I'm breezing through the game. I feel like is all.
Yeah, you're going to, right? I'm almost done with it, and I got it last Friday, right? And I haven't been playing like that much, but I'm able to. I'm probably going to clear it before the weekend.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. We're gonna definitely beat it before the weekend because I want to get back into
Returnal
for sure.
So,
yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it suffers the same thing that all Resident Evil suffer from, is that it gets too actiony.
Yeah.
Right. They put too much emphasis on the action part of it, which I feel like that's what people kind of
don't like,
kind of shy away from.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I'm going to give it a thumbs up. So 2 thumbs up with this game. Get it. If not, wait, get it on sale. You don't have to like play it right away, but definitely a fun game. And I've streamed it and people like watching while I was playing and stuff like that. And also, I'm a baby when it comes to scary games.
And you did it.
And
you grew cojones. You actually grew cojones and did it.
I enjoyed it. It was so good that it made me still want to play, even though I was scared.
Yeah.
So
now, would you go back and play Dead Space?
Yeah.
Like you're okay with that? Because I knew you were afraid of playing Dead Space before, so.
Yeah, I'll play Dead Space, but I'm telling you right now, there is a part, dude.
I'm not there yet, and I keep hearing it's bad. I'm like, is it like demonic? Like, is it something that I'm shitting bricks like throughout the whole entire playthrough, or?
You'll see.
All right, fuck it.
I'll leave it at that.
All right, so any final words? Thumbs up. You love it. It's great.
I'm just having a good time with it, honestly. I think Capcom knocked it out of the park with this one as far as, a main entry. I'm excited for the next one. But I really hope they stick with making it more scarier and not putting so much emphasis on giving you all this like ammo and stuff like that. Keeping pace with that scariness. So
I think they're going to always stay with that
action-y
though. I think they're going to keep it both actiony and I think they're just trying to appease everybody, right? Like they're trying to make the horror fans happy, and they're also trying to kind of the people that really don't care about Resident Evil but they like the actiony part of it kind of happy about it as well. I think now Resident Evil has grown like it's grown so much now to the point where it needs to kind of have a more of a following and more of a fan base, and for them to kind of make everyone happy, I think that's what they're trying to do. So yeah, that's my take. I don't know. I don't think it will ever go full blown horror now.
Do you think they should stick with the first person, or they should go back to third person?
That's a good question, because this is my first time and your first time playing it first person, right? I like it. I think it's very, it's immersive. It makes you feel like you're really in there, especially when they give you like, those werewolves and they just pop up right in front of you and you're just like, oh crap, like holy shit, like I think that really helps with those scare factors. So yeah, I do enjoy the first person. Do I not want it ever to be third person? No, I would prefer once or twice, maybe one game here and there,
like the old ones, like the remakes,
like the old school. I do enjoy those as well, but I wouldn't mind them just sticking with
like future entries. Do you think like Resident Evil 9 you think should be first person?
Mix it up a little bit, like once in a while. I like what they did with 7, where they just completely threw you like first person, new character, a new ambiance, like completely different, right?
Yeah.
And that kept the game, kept the series fresh. So I kind of want them to do that as well, and maybe stick with third person and see what they could come up with, Moving on to topic number 1, though. So Rob, PlayStation versus Xbox. The first 7 months of their next gen consoles. PlayStation 5, Xbox Series S, and X. So we're going to be talking about just a little bit of what their accomplishments have been made over the past 7 months.
The landscape of the...
Their landscapes, exactly. And just to kind of see where they're at right now, right? So PlayStation units sold 7.8 million as of April 28th versus Xbox Series X units sold. Xbox did not share hardware sales recently, but based on release earning figures, it is estimated that about 5.8 million Xbox Series X and S were sold. And that's combined, correct?
Yep.
Yep. So the key here is that these numbers include the X and the Series S. They're two completely different consoles, right? Because they're marketing two different people, I feel like.
Yep.
Xbox is apparently not worried about these numbers, though. So what do you think about that? Like, the Sony obviously doing great, right, with selling their console, and it's hard to even get right now, but they're still overselling with.
Yeah. Did you get the numbers just now?
I did. Yes.
Yes. Okay. So we got 7.8 mil versus 5.8 mil based on earning figures.
April 28th. Yep.
So the PS4 accounting for digital and the disc version is at 7.8, and Series X is 5. Series X and S is 5.8 combined.
Correct.
So here's the thing: is that the PlayStation Digital and the PlayStation No Disc or Disc One is the same console. It's the same thing. It has the same power. Versus X and S, they're not the same thing.
No.
So I don't know why Xbox is lumping that together. It's the Series X is not in the same playing field as the PS5.
Right. Honestly, I think it is them overshadowing the numbers to kind of bump up those numbers to make it look like it's doing
maybe
better than it really is, in my opinion. Again, I don't know. This is just us kind of talking out our ass just because we don't have the numbers here because Microsoft, they haven't disclosed those. So I think PlayStation did something similar with PlayStation 4 and PlayStation Pro where they just bundled both of those sales together. That's a little different because they're kind of the same console, right? Just one's a little bit more higher in specs.
Yeah.
But this one is just drastically, right? So it's interesting, right? They are definitely kind of taking the approach of like, let's combine our numbers and kind of not steer away from giving everybody the full picture here, I think.
Yeah, it is a little weird that they are not giving just like, okay.
But I feel like they've always done that though. Let me make that clear. I feel like they've never really exposed or given their full numbers, especially since Xbox 360 days. I feel like after that they stopped giving their numbers.
Yeah, I mean, this. I think personally, I think the PlayStation is a better console than the Series X is. You know what I mean? And we're gonna go into that in a little details here. And I'm talking like hardware wise. I think it's a better console. That's why I think people. And again, that was the whole thing with like the marketing we were talking about. PlayStation 5 marketed says it's like the new sexy thing. Like it's sexy to have a PS5.
Right.
Versus Xbox is just like this big black box.
Right.
Right.
Xbox or Microsoft, they're again
taking a different approach.
They're taking a different approach. They're more focused on an ecosystem. They're more focused on if you land in our ecosystem, you're able to play our games anywhere you want. And that's what they want gamers to have. Whereas PlayStation is kind of the opposite. They're like, no, you need to buy a PS5 to play our games. Otherwise, you're missing out. We are the premier console, so you need to buy our console unless, otherwise you can't play our AAA games. So speaking of AAA games, let's talk about where they're at right now as far as their games. So Sony right now, for exclusives, they have Astro's Playroom, Demon's Souls, Destruction All-Stars, Returnal, Miles Morales, which is also on PS4. So, you can count that, you can't count that, whatever. Ratchet and Clank is coming in June. Xbox, on the other hand, it was kind of hard to pick a. It's kind of hard to find what kind of AAA games they have. So they have Game Pass, which is their streaming their service to kind of give you a Netflix style game, right? Of
Yeah.
as many games as you want. They have the Bethesda they
Acquisition.
acquired Bethesda, yep, exactly, acquisition. And then they have Halo coming soon at some point. We don't know when. That's it. We don't have anything else. Currently right now, there's nothing that you can play on Xbox
They
to
can't
kind
play
of
on PS5.
show that yeah, exactly. And nothing to show what Xbox is capable of. So that's always been their issue, right? They don't have games.
Mm-hmm. They did it.
They're working on it.
I think on the 360 days, it was the strongest with their
Yeah.
exclusives.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. They definitely had games that showcased 360, but then it just kind of started drifting away for some reason.
And I think that's the whole thing too. Is like they're trying to get as many people on board as possible. They want to be like, you can, like you said, you can play on anything you want. You have a Series X, you have Xbox One, you have a phone. Like we want you to play on everything, right?
Yeah.
So they're trying. I don't think they're going as hard with the exclusivity. Well, we'll see with Bethesda, but
yeah, and I think that's their key player right now. Bethesda, Game Pass is also their key figure right now. They're forefront in the gaming industry, but without games, you're not really like you can't.
But
really play.
they have games. They just don't have exclusive games.
Right,
but they have so many games.
Yeah, they do. I just don't think it's enough to keep them afloat if they don't acquire any more studios, if they don't release any more AAA games. Like the Game Pass alone can't help them. I don't think.
I think this kind of gives. There's two different people here. There are people that don't care about Sony exclusives, and if you don't, there's no reason for you to get a PS5. Because I think the Xbox Series X S is a better value because you're getting Game Pass. Because Game Pass is superior to whatever PlayStation's offering. PlayStation, what is it? Network, not network. The
PlayStation Plus.
PlayStation Plus, with their free games that they're offering. It doesn't. There's no competition with it. Game Pass is superior, and that's the meat a lot of about Xbox, right? Like that's their secret recipe.
Their bread and butter, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas PlayStation, their bread and butter is the games themselves, like the exclusives. If they don't have exclusives, then it becomes like, okay, then now it's preference.
Yeah. So the last 7 months, this is what we have right now. I think Sony is definitely doing a great job, right? And there's more to come. Again, we have Ratchet and Clank coming out next month. That's another AAA game that's coming out that looks fantastic. They just shown off, they had a the what's it called? People were able to get their hands on Ratchet and Clank. I forget the term. But everyone's raving about it. It looks fantastic. Meanwhile, Xbox doesn't have anything currently. But games aside, though, let's go towards the UI side of things. So as far as the UI goes, what do you think has the better UI system, the interface?
From what I read, they're both pretty on par with each other as far as like what they offer and how easy they are to use. I think PlayStation takes the edge on it, wins that one out just because it feels more premium. Yeah,
I agree. I think they did a great job with changing it up a little bit too, because PS4, going from PS4 to PS5 UI is a slight difference. There's nothing major in a sense. I thought when they first announced that they were going to change up the UI, it was going to be drastic, but it's not that drastic.
It just looks prettier and
it looks
and
prettier, cleaner, sleek. Yeah, all these fancy words. It's faster, it's snappier, right? That's what we wanted, and that's perfectly fine. But Xbox, on the other hand, basically kept it the same, right? Like they didn't do anything major, if at all. I don't think they did anything at all to change the UI.
Yeah, the UI is more of like entertainment centery in that sense. Like, when you go open your smart TV or your Apple TV, you have that hub with like all your apps and stuff like that. That's kind of how Xbox has it.
All the tiles.
All the tiles and stuff like that. Which works. It works perfectly fine because most UIs use that type of,
I will say the UI on PC is not that great for Xbox.
Oh, it's
I think
horrible.
it's terrible.
It's bad.
Terrible.
Game Pass on PC is not good.
No.
It's very clunky. It's not pretty. It just you gotta like search for your stuff. So I think they're gonna fix it up. I think they're really they're doing the numbers to see because it was in beta before. I don't know if you remember, but it was a beta they were doing. I think they're gonna take the numbers of how many people are actually playing on PC, and then be like, all right, well, we have to put this much effort into PC because we actually have a lot of people on PC playing, us included. That's a big reason why we don't have Xboxes because we just play on PC.
Right, for sure. And that's the thing. And I think, again, Microsoft has that edge where you can play their console or their games anywhere you want, which is great. We don't have Xbox, but we're still able to enjoy their their games and all their offers that they have because we're able to play it on our PC. PS4 or Sony can't do that for some reason. So you're limited to just buying their console, and that makes it feel like that premium console that you need to have. So yeah, it's interesting. They're both taking different approaches. Do you think it's too close though? Do you think it's too close to call who's gonna be at the top at the end of this generation? I know it's too early to tell right now, but do you think there's a slight advantage right now on Sony's side? I think so.
I think Sony right now has the advantage. But what I'm afraid of they're doing is they're putting themselves too much in a box, right? They're becoming like this like super like I don't know how to explain it, like put it in words, but it's clear that they're the more premium console, right? Even like their controller. The controller has more tech in it than the Xbox. Xbox didn't really revolutionize their controller. Right. PS5 completely revolutionized their controller. The DualSense is really cool. Like that, the adaptive triggers, yeah, people might not prefer it to Xbox traditional triggers, but those adaptive triggers like really immerse you when you're playing a game like Returnal.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
So that's I'm gonna give Sony the edge on that. And again, the games, their exclusives are fantastic. They don't have bad exclusives. They never really, you know what I mean? Like I can't think of a bad Sony exclusive. They're all really polished
Days
games.
Gone, that's hard to kind of say because a lot of people love Days Gone, but it didn't do super well, So that's probably one of their more weaker titles.
I think it depends, right? If you want a premium console experience, like a traditional console experience, go PS5. Right? Because it's going to be what the console felt like. You know what I mean? Like PS2, like you have the PS2 games versus Xbox games, right? Like you have those and it's different. Like it's not the same as the other ones. Right. Xbox, if you want more flexibility, I want to say, Xbox is better.
Yeah. And not only flexibility, but the opportunity to play older games that you never experienced before, Sony, that I guess that's where Microsoft kind of has an upper advantage over Sony because you can play all of their Xbox titles since the first Xbox, what I mean? Whereas Sony, they don't have that, they don't have that ability to play a PS1 game if you wanted to at this point. So
do you think Xbox put all its eggs in a basket on Game Pass?
No, I think they definitely have more up their sleeve, but I think they invested heavily on Game Pass and it's paying off, right? Like it's doing great for them.
One thing too that we didn't really mention last month that reminds me is that Xbox does not charge you for Xbox Gold anymore.
Right.
Like for multiplayer, like you don't have to, you can play with your friends. It doesn't matter, which is awesome. But
prior to that, you had to purchase, you had to buy. You had to pay for free-to-play games, essentially, right? So if you were playing Destiny or something like that, and it was like a free-to-play game, you had to still purchase gold to play.
I think they did like a switcheroo with subscriptions, right? They were like, okay, well, we want more people playing Game Pass.
Right.
So we're going to start making it more attractive for you to get Game Pass. Whereas like now you don't have to worry about your gold subscription, put it towards your Game Pass subscription. So
exactly. Yeah, and that's exactly what they wanted. They wanted you to kind of switch or shift over from gold subscription to Game Pass. So, that was smart. We will see, Rob. This is, again, it's too early to tell. but it's super interesting seeing where both of these consoles have kind of, you know, diverse themselves, you know.
I feel
So
like this is the weirdest generation
100%. Yeah. I knew
between
exactly what
those
you were going
two
to say.
because it
Yeah.
doesn't feel like they're battling each other per se. It's
No.
more about like it's not even like an iPhone versus Android thing anymore. It's different. It's
No.
completely different. It's just
No, it's
at
not.
this point, it's I don't
At
know.
this point, everyone is building their own turf, and they're trying to grow their their own ecosystem separately from each other. So now one can basically they all three of them, Nintendo, PlayStation, and Microsoft, can all have their own space in the gaming industry
Yep.
without having them bump heads or feel like they're battling one another. You know what I mean?
It's all about preference at this point. You know what I mean? I
Right.
feel like so.
It's awesome. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yep.
Topic number 2. Sony has 25 PS5 games currently in the works.
That's a lot. Jeez.
This is from The Verge here. Quotes, Sony is apparently looking to release more than 25 PS5 games under its PlayStation Studios brand, and nearly half of them will not be sequels or spin-offs, according to The Wired's interview with PlayStation Studio lead. He was the former Guerrilla Games manager-director, Herman Holst. So keep in mind, guys, this could also include like indie games, third-party partners, a la Returnal, like how we just saw, and games that are also coming to Xbox, so like MLB The Show. So what do you think about this? 25 games that they haven't announced yet. They are practically games that we don't know anything about, and some of them are not sequels, they're not spin-offs. What do you think about this?
I think it's really good that they have that many games in development right now that are new IPs and stuff like that. Because again, like the old IPs, like now we're getting super like now there's like again Resident Evil, like we're on Resident Evil 8. Like you got to start getting some fresh ideas because you just can't keep remaking.
For sure.
I guess you could.
You could, as long as you change it up, right? Like God of War is a perfect example where it kind of started getting stale at some point, and then they literally just completely rehauled that game, and now it's its own. It's like starting from the ground up now at this point. So now,
but
it's
like
God
Last
of
of
War.
Us, they're remaking Last of Us. Like I feel like it's still too kind of early to play.
Way too early.
Yeah, especially with Last of Us 2 that just came out. Like, okay, how are you gonna? It's not gonna be that much unless it is that different. But it's like it was really good. Like everyone enjoyed that.
It just
Everyone
feels
liked
like
that.
it was so recently, and it's been what 8 years since the last one came out, since the original, but it just feels like it wasn't that long ago.
Yeah. So I'm. This is exciting because it's fresh ideas and things we haven't seen before.
Yeah,
that's always
and
welcome.
I'm all for like third-party partners, right? Like how they did Returnal, working with Housemarque. I think that's still great. Like they still included them as part of their first-party titles, but it's a third-party partner.
Yeah,
which is cool.
And look how Returnal came out. It was so sick. It's
fantastic.
It's different. It's a fresh, fresh breath there.
They're not putting that much of their resources into one studio. They have another studio kind of taking charge, and they're just paying them out, and everyone wins at that point. So I like acquisitions, but the partnering stuff is also pretty cool as well. So my question to you though, do you think Sony's playing their cards right? Like, is this like obviously you can tell that this is what they're doing, this is their strategy. Do you think it's going to pay off with them? Like if they just continue to just exclusives here, partnering with somebody else, do you think this is the way to go, or do you think it's a better route what Microsoft is doing, kind of building this ecosystem with Game Pass?
I think Sony, I don't think they can go wrong with doing what they're doing, because that's been the formula forever, right? It's just like pumping out new games everyone wants to play, right?
Yeah.
They're doing the exact same thing as Xbox doing Game Pass. Like Xbox is investing heavily in Game Pass, whereas Sony is investing heavily on their exclusive games. Do I think it's a bad thing? No, I just think it's just their way of doing things. It's different, I don't think they could go wrong with creating new games that people are gonna like. There could be one game in there that's gonna be like the new Metal Gear Solid. Like, I'm not saying Metal Gear Solid, but like a new IP that's gonna be like a franchise like that. You know,
Exactly. Yeah, and out of the 25 games that they're
it's
working
bound
on,
to be
it's bound to be one of them, one or two of them, right? Where they have this amazing title that when it comes out, it's gonna, sell like crazy. People are gonna love it, and they're just gonna create another franchise out of it, and
we
that's
need
exciting.
that. We need that again because I feel
Yeah,
like we've had
another Last of
all
Us, like another big AAA budget game like The Last of Us come out. I'm not saying like the same story or anything like that, but like to that caliber, like that's exciting.
I can't even think of like a game like that came out in recent history or like a new game where it's like, oh, I cannot wait for. I'm talking like PS2. I'm sorry, PS4. Like PS4. I don't really remember like a new IP that came out PS4 that I'm like excited for. Actually, that's a lie. Bloodborne.
That's all. Yeah, I was just gonna say like, all right, Bloodborne, bro. Like, come on.
Bloodborne.
Well, that was early on in the PS4's life, right? That came out in March, I want to say. So yeah, that was pretty early on, but wow, what a game! Yeah, so that was my main like, but I didn't know Bloodborne was gonna be that dope
Good.
until
No
I
one
played
did.
it.
Nobody thought because they were
Right,
just like, okay, it's Dark Souls but different, and it
right, right.
worked.
But
So
it turned out to be great.
I think this is a very good thing for gamers.
Yeah, this is great. I mean, again, this is just showing PlayStation having Sony doing what they do best is just throwing out games, like pumping out these games,
Yep.
and that's not even counting the games that we already know, like God of War, Horizon, Ratchet and Clank coming out soon. Like we have like, Gran Turismo, like nothing that speaks to us, Gran Turismo, but it speaks to millions of other people. So they have high caliber games, man, and they just keep pumping them out, which is crazy. So
Yeah.
good on them. I think this strategy does work because although, like you said, there are people that don't care about Sony's games, there's a shit ton of people that do, and they just keep building this bond between gamers. They're like, oh, I like you guys keep making these amazing games that I love, and not only that I love that they kind of uh, kind of mess around with like my emotions, or they get me excited about things. Like there's different, like Last of Us, for example, they kind of give you that, they give you the feeling sometimes, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
No,
So those people really love that, and they will keep playing those games because they invoke some type of emotion out of them.
just like you like you're a huge Sony super fan. There are a ton of thousands of people like you that like that platform, right? I just know you because I just know you, right? Like me, I would say I fall a little less in that park. Like I'm just like, okay, it's cool. Like I'll play it.
Mhm.
I'm not as big of a fan, but there are a ton of fans out there just like you that would like eat this stuff up, you know?
Yeah.
So I think
And
Sony's really banking on their fan base here.
and not only on their fan base, but new incomers too. I think of Caleb too. He's dying to get a PS5, and he wants to play The Last of Us. But he's waiting to get a PS5 to then play The Last of Us, and I feel like he's gonna love it once he does get his hands on it. So he's gonna be, I think, another fan, if you want to call them,
That's
to
being created.
Sony.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think they're on the right track. I think they're doing great. Topic number 3, though, Rob. Ubisoft changing their course. They will no longer rely on 3 to 4 AAA games each year. Instead, they're trying to focus on more free-to-play games based off of their bigger franchises. This is from VGC. So Ubisoft is shifting away from its traditional strategy of releasing 3 to 4 premium AAA titles each year, but plans to launch high-end free-to-play games for all its biggest franchises. In line with the evolution of our high-quality lineup that is increasingly diverse, we are moving on from our prior comment regarding releasing 3 to 4 premium AAAs per year, said Ubisoft Chief Financial Officer Frederick Duguet. So this doesn't mean that they won't release that they'll release less premium games, but it's more, I guess, they're adding on to the original games that they have by adding free to play. Is from what I took from what he said. So what do you think of this? So Ubisoft is basically changing up their course a little bit. I think they're still going to add AAA games, but they're like they said, they're going to be focusing on free to play. What does that mean to the game? Like Assassin's Creed or Far Cry. Like what does that mean to their games? Adding free to play.
I mean, free to play works, right? Like, it's just a model that works. It's just the best.
Does it
entry
though?
point.
I feel like people have a bad taste with free to play games. Like if you think of free to play, I don't know if people think of it as like, oh, it's like a cop out type of thing. Like, oh, how much money am I going to be investing in this? Like, it's going to be like trying to dig into my pockets type of thing. You don't think so?
No, because there's a ton of like free games that are out that are not like that. You know, you have Warframe, you have Fortnite, you have Apex Legends, you have Call of Duty, you have Genshin
Genshin Impact, yeah.
Yeah, Genshin Impact.
Guess
You have
Genshin.
that game. And there's sort of
But
other
that
games
one,
that I don't know, but that's
yeah.
what I'm saying. Like, I think the free to play model is a good model because it gets people to. There's no investment. There's just like, okay, why not? It doesn't hurt to try because it's free. And then what happens? The worst thing happens. Oh, I like it. Okay, now I'm actually going to spend money on it.
But how does the free to play game work for like Assassin's Creed though? It's a more story driven game. So how does that?
They might make it an open world game. They might make it where you get to recruit different assassins, kind of like Brotherhood, where you guys are on a big map and it's like, all right, you have to get this target.
You know, assassinate this guy, try to find a way to get
Exactly.
you know,
But
inside
and
this
that
building.
target is one of the players like you.
Right.
And you have to be like, there's going to be assassins coming through, or you're that player and you're walking around and you're like, who's the assassin?
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of things they could do. I'm just an example, but
yeah.
I don't think free to play is a bad thing for this. Like, look at Call of Duty. Call of Duty went free to play. Look what happened.
Yeah, and I think they did mention that as well. That they're kind of steering towards what Call of Duty has done, and like you're right, 100%. Call of Duty has changed the way we look at free to play games now because not just Call of Duty, like Fortnite did that too, but Call of Duty for me changed a lot because again, I played that first time and I'm like, yeah, I'm hooked. Like I want to keep playing this game, and I'm still hooked. You know. And they did a great job. So I guess it just depends on how Ubisoft incorporates free to play into their games. You said that was smart what you said, right? As far as like Assassin's Creed doing it like Brotherhood did, and kind of like doing the whole assassination thing, trying to work together to kill a target. Like that sounds pretty cool. If they can incorporate things like that with their games, I think they have something going on here. I think they have something good going.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's gonna buy an Everyone's gonna play a free Assassin's Creed game. That's just. There's so many fans of that franchise that I'm gonna play it.
If you make an open world Assassin's Creed game and I can play with you, that sounds dope. And then we can just kind of travel around open world. Like
you can customize your assassin, buy skins for your assassin, spec them out really cool. Like, yeah. I think it's a home run in the making if they go this way. So. Yeah, I think it's a good thing. I think it's a good strategy. Good on them.
Yeah, we'll see. But now they kind of went back to what they were saying. They were saying that they are shifting away from releasing 3 to 4 games, AAA games, to doing more free to play. But then they kind of diverted back to saying, no, we're still going to be doing the 3 to 4 games, a year. We're just enhancing these games. So my question is, do you think they'll still be doing do you believe them basically? Do you think they're still going to be keeping the 3 to 4 AAA games every year, or are they going to kind of
I mean, I don't have a reason not to believe them, right? Like, I think they could do it. I mean, people don't have a problem with a new Assassin's Creed being released no one had a problem with that. A new Assassin's Creed being released every year. I don't hear people complaining. Me personally,
they did actually. They got to a point where every year you can definitely see the you can definitely see how well or bad the game was doing every year, right? Like the game was suffering from just repetitiveness and things like that. So once they took a break and they kind of stop doing it annually, I think they kind of helped make what Assassin's Creed is today right now.
Yeah, that's when they release their best games. Is when they take a break and
like Odyssey was fantastic. Like they did a really good job with Odyssey.
Most Assassin's Creed games are great. Even the ones that did come out, like I'm trying to think Odyssey. I'm trying to think of Origins. I'm thinking of Assassin's Creed 2, Assassin's Creed 3, Assassin's Creed. You know what I mean? Like a majority of their games are really good games. Mm-hmm. It's just a few in there that the ones that did suffer that yearly of. Mm-hmm. Like I'm trying to think of one that wasn't really that great. Can't remember. Unity. I think Unity wasn't that great.
Unity. I think Brotherhood was good, but it didn't do super well. I don't know.
It's somewhat. I think it's somewhat some people's favorite is Unity or Brotherhood. I like Brotherhood a lot. That was one of my favorite.
Really?
Hits. Okay. But I mean,
All
they know what they're doing there. They know what they're doing with that franchise. So except the movie. The movie was awful. Don't watch the movie.
The movie was awful. Did you watch it?
No, I didn't watch it.
Oh, okay. It was on Netflix though, right?
I don't know. It was a theater.
Yeah, but I thought it came out on Netflix or something at some point. Yeah. Well, we'll see. I think this is great. They're on the right track here. Topic number 4 though. 2 new colors for the DualSense hit next month in stores, which is a little small topic, nothing crazy. But you've seen them, right? We posted them on our social media. You guys check it out. They have 2 brand new controllers, 2 new color schemes. I think one is Midnight Black, the other one is Cosmic Red.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Cool.
Right?
I like them a lot. I like that. They're cool. They're cool. They're just I'm probably gonna get the black one over the red one because it would look cool with like the white and black controller next to each other. Like that. I think that would look cool.
That was my take on it too. I'm like, I the red is cool, but I feel like it's just way too different from the white and blue color scheme, the white and black color scheme. So I think the black one is the best way to go.
Yeah, but this is the first wave of like different colors now. So it's always people are getting excited about that. So are they going to be $70 each? Or are they going to be more?
I think it's $70. I think I saw something saying it's going to be $70. You can actually pre-order it right now.
Oh, okay. I mean, I'm not in a rush to pre-order another controller, but
I'm not, I mean, I have 2 already, so
yeah.
But it looks cool.
You already have another one? You have 2?
Yeah, I have 2. I have 2 whites. Yeah, it looks cool, and I think this is great because they're already starting to release more different color schemes. So that means that there's more to come at some point. And I kind of wish I hope they add the customization controller. Whatever Xbox did last generation with their customizing
the lab,
their own, the lab, yes,
yeah,
exactly. I kind of wish Sony kind of did that too because it's cool to personalize your own controller, and controller is something that it's important, right? You need
connection to the game.
Have it's a connection to the game, and they're on the right track. I think the color schemes are great, but I feel like they can one up that one more time by just giving you the option to customize it. I think that'd be dope.
One question for you about this topic is do you know when they're going to start releasing limited edition consoles? You know what I'm talking about? Like
I don't know. I'm assuming when one of their major games are coming out, whether it be Horizon, God of War. I don't think Ratchet and Clank would be one. No. But one of those 2. God of War, Horizon, I think they would definitely release
and it's going to sell out immediately.
It's going to be insane to get one. But I also wish instead of doing the limited edition consoles, like just release the plates, man. Just release different plates, and I would 100% buy one or 2. Give me a Metal Gear Solid plate. Just plop that right there. Like it'll look amazing. They're
going to be available, I think, on secondary markets.
Yeah. If there
like
aren't already.
You could go on like Etsy and you could get like a custom one you could slap on there. So it's not gonna be hard to get one, but like ones that are like made by Sony, probably gonna take a while for it to happen, even if it happens at all.
Yeah. So I thought that was pretty cool. It was just announced today, so pretty cool.
My dog just farted so bad just now. It smells so bad. It smelled so bad that I had to stop you talking in the middle of the podcast. So
Jesus, I'm sorry, bro. Right, that's kind of like how Mavericks farts. Like he actually farts like diesel shits, right? And when he does, it's bad because it not only stinks up the room, it stinks up your nostrils. Like you smell that.
Oh, it's like in my brain now right now. Yeah.
Yeah,
it lingers. It lingers. That's the thing.
And then he just smiles, He's like, "Hey,
it's like, I just shit my pants, bro. Clean it up."
All right, guys. Finally, topic number 5, the one that you've been waiting for. So this one's a little fun one that we decided to do, and I think we're gonna keep going and keep doing this. So our question. This is more of a question instead of a topic, right? So what was the best SNES game that you played? I'm gonna start with you, Rob. So Super Nintendo released on November 21st, 1990, before we were born.
Yeah.
But we obviously were fortunate enough to play SNES. What was your favorite SNES game or your best SNES game?
Favorite / what I think is the best is probably gonna be Barney and I'm just kidding.
Oh my god! I was like, you're gonna say something stupid. Let me guess.
No.
Let me guess. Let me guess. Let me guess.
Okay, take a guess.
It has to be either. Was it Star Fox? 60.
Nope.
No, it's not Star. It's just Star Fox. You played the original Star Fox. Right?
Yeah, I did play the original, but no, I didn't. It's not it.
It's not that. Okay. All right, I give up. I don't know.
Yoshi's Island.
No, really?
Yep. Where you have Baby Mario on your back and you play as Yoshi.
Yeah. Okay.
That it just the sounds and the way the levels go, they just hit that out of the park. Like to this day, I see that game like I want to play it.
Okay.
It's just a fun game, dude. It's just you just can pick it up and you're just Yoshi. And it changed up the formula for the Mario games.
For sure, yeah.
Right?
I agree. Those were fun. Those were fun times. They were hard times. I remember that.
It was a tougher game,
difficult.
but
yeah.
I just think the graphics at the time and the way the level design was, and the fact that you have to worry. I remember if you got hit, like Mario or Baby Mario would like fly in a little bubble, and he would cry, and you had to like pop him to like get him back on, and like give you like a sense of urgency, like oh crap, I gotta do it. So like I thought that part was really cool. I think that was my favorite Super Nintendo game, just because it's the most memorable for me. I could say like Super Metroid.
Do you remember like a specific level in that game, or you just kind of remember bits?
Not
and pieces
off
of
the
it?
top of my head, I don't remember a specific level. Just like the primary. Again, I was so young when I played this game.
Yeah, we were young, so
again, this Super Nintendo came out before we were born.
Right. So like, we picked
don't
up
have too many
Super
memories
Nintendo.
of it.
Yeah, we picked up Super
I
Nintendo.
definitely played it a lot.
Like 7,
I just
8.
don't remember it.
Right. So you want to know what my favorite one is? It was between Donkey Kong.
So your favorite game is Donkey Kong Country 2.
It was between Donkey Kong Country 2 or 3. Did you play Donkey Kong Country 3?
Yeah.
It was
so good.
I think it was more memorable. I feel like
I was thinking about that.
I feel like 3 was more memorable.
It takes cake for me, but Donkey Kong Country is so good.
Well, I just remember it being so much fun, and I just remember playing it back in New York, and how much fun I had. Just I don't know, like I think the level design was fantastic, and it was a hard game to begin with for me, for a stupid 7, 8-year-old kid. Like that was hard as hell to play. But I just remember and like just sticking it out and just trying to continue, beating that level and making sure like I finished the game, and I was so excited when I finally finished the level. I beat the game for Donkey Kong Country 2. I never beat Donkey Kong Country 3 though, so I always wanted to go back and finish it. But Donkey Kong Country 2 was my favorite SNES game. And I think it just had to do with Diddy Kong, Dixie Kong, and you just had a good mix between the two. You can play as Dixie Kong, and that was fun. Like there's a lot of cool moments in that game that it's like embedded in my head for some reason. It was such a fun game.
You can't go wrong with that one, honestly. Again, Super Nintendo is like there's so many good games that it's hard to choose, right? That defined a whole generation of games
for
there.
Sure. So many games, from Castlevania, Metroid Prime. Like there was just so many fantastic games, and we couldn't really hone down into like one specific one. But for us, those were like the most memorable ones that we played. Obviously,
yeah. I mean, I want to hear from other people. What was your favorite Super Nintendo game? / what you think is the best?
Yeah.
Leave it in the comment section below. We'll put a post on social media, and let us know. We'll have a discussion about it.
Yeah, let us know what was your favorite Super Nintendo game back when you first played it, and let us know why. Let us know what made that game so memorable for you as well. Well, Rob, this was our topic number 5. This was it. I hope you enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. This was episode 18, right? Everyone, 18. So everyone, please give us a like, subscribe. Follow us on social media. We'd really appreciate it. Again, we post Game of the Week every Wednesdays at 12 p.m. Podcast every Fridays at 12 p.m. So give us a like, share, subscribe. That really does help us. You have no idea how much that does. And thanks again for everything. Rob, any final thoughts?
No, I'm good, man. I think again, everyone, let us know in the comments what you think that game is, and then Kelv, I'll see you next week.
See you next week, man. Take care.
All right, see you.